I can't think of a better way to enjoy strawberries. This is my strawberry cream cheese pie. It's kind of like a hybrid between like a strawberry pie and a cheesecake. It's very easy to make, and it is the sister pie to two of my really popular recipes, my blueberry cream cheese pie and my lemon cream cheese pie. This is actually the one that started it all. It has lots of really good reviews, but it doesn't have a video yet, so we're going to fix that today. First thing first, we need a graham cracker crust. We're going to make this nice and easy with 1.5 cups of graham cracker crumbs. Add 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar. Then I also like to use a tablespoon of firmly packed light brown sugar. Just adds a little extra depth. Just going to toss these together, smash up that brown sugar. I use this graham cracker crust for so many of the other recipes on my website, probably most notably my cheesecake recipe. Okay, once that's all nicely combined, we are going to add our butter, which is going to be the glue that holds everything together. You need 7 tablespoons of salted butter. You could use unsalted if you prefer, but salted is just going to give you a little bit of extra flavor. So that's what we're going with today. Just going to claw everything together. We want all of those crumbs to be nicely moistened. All right, once the crumbs are all moistened and it's nice and, sandy looking, you'll need your pie plate. You can make this recipe in anywhere between a 9-inch or a 10-inch pie plate. I think this one technically says 9.5, but I always feel like it's a little closer to 10. Just add all of our crumbs in here. Now the easiest way to pack this into the crust is just to use like a clean glass, or you could even use like a clean 1 cup or ½ cup measuring cup. And we're just going to pack it firmly into the bottom of the pie plate and press it gently but firmly up the sides. Okay, so once you have your crust prepped, we are going to bake it. Baking it is just kind of going to help it hold together without crumbling when you cut into it. This is going to give us more structure and keep it from getting soggy. So this is going to go in a 350 Fahrenheit preheated oven. Bakes for 10 to 13 minutes. You just want it to be beginning to turn like a nice, like slightly deeper golden brown when it's finished. So while the crust is cooking, I'll usually begin preparing the strawberry topping. This is a really nice, it's like a cross between a strawberry sauce and like a fresh strawberry jam. We're going to make it on the stovetop, so grab a medium-sized saucepan, and let's head over to the stove. Real quickly before we begin, I want to talk about our strawberries. You're going to need about 5 to 6 cups of chopped strawberries. I'll usually quarter them, and then if they're still a little too big after quartering, I'll cut them in half. You want the pieces to be like bite-sized because some of these are going to be intact in our topping. I'll usually just start with 2 pounds of strawberries, cut off the tops, and chop them up. Now for the topping, we are only going to start with 2 cups of our strawberries. We'll add this into our saucepan. We'll add a ½ cup of granulated sugar, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, and about a tablespoon of lemon juice. Fresh lemon juice works really nicely here. Turn your stovetop to medium-low heat, and we're going to stir this frequently while the berries start to cook and break down. Once they've released their juices and they're a little bit more tender, grab a potato masher or anything you can use to mash the berries and mash them up pretty well. I like everything to be mostly liquid, but it's okay if there's some small pieces remaining. Increase the heat just a bit and bring everything to a boil. We're going to boil it for a minute. Make sure you're stirring the whole time. Once this is thickened and it's like approaching a jammy consistency, we're going to pull it off the heat. This looks great, so we are going to immediately pour it into a new dish. We want to stop the cooking. So this is nice and hot still. We want it to cool down, and we can add the rest of our berries now to help speed up that cooling process. You should have like 3 to 4 cups remaining. We'll just stir this in. Now, sometime during this process, your crust is going to finish cooking, so just pull that out of the oven and set it aside to cool. Okay, this is going to need to cool down completely before you add it to your pie. So set it aside while we make our filling. If you want to pop it in the fridge to help cool it down, that's fine. Just stir it occasionally while it's in there. That'll also help speed up the cooling process. All right, let's make the filling or the base layer of the pie. It's kind of like a creamy, think like a no-bake cheesecake. I really love this filling. We're going to start by making a simple whipped cream. You just need 1 cup of cold cream, heavy cream or double cream. Pour it into a mixing bowl. You can whip cream by hand if you're like the super ambitious type, but it takes a while. So I usually prefer to either use my stand mixer or my electric mixer. And always start on low speed and gradually increase the speed to high. And we are going to whip until we have stiff peaks. So stiff peaks, in case you haven't made my meringues or macarons before, and that's a new term for you, it just means when you lift the beater out, any peaks that form are going to hold their shape. And if you're not noticing any peaks, I kind of did that a little bit late, just, grab a big spoonful of it with your spatula. It should be thick and fluffy. It should look like Cool Whip. So this looks great. We're going to pop it to the side and grab a separate bowl for our cream cheese mixture, which we're going to fold in with that in a bit. You're going to need 8 ounces of brick style cream cheese. You want this to be softened. I don't recommend like a low fat cream cheese. They can be a little bit too soft and then the pie can be kind of messy. And you don't have to switch out your beaters. You can just use the same ones. I'm just going to briefly stir this until it's creamy. I just want to make sure it's blending well and I don't have any lumps in there. And now I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of powdered sugar and just a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Vanilla actually plays pretty nicely with the strawberry flavor. You don't want to add too much or you could end up kind of detracting from it. All right, let's stir this together until it's smooth and creamy. Just going to do a quick scrape of the bowl. Don't want there to be any lumps, any sugar remaining. This looks great, so let's take our whipped cream. We're just going to put this right in the bowl with our cream cheese mixture. And I prefer not to use the mixer for this point. I just like to gently fold these ingredients together until they're well combined. So when you're working with cream that you've whipped, you don't want to be too heavy-handed. That's why I don't want to use the mixer, because I don't want to totally deflate it. We want to have that slight fluffiness to the texture. Using a spatula lets me be very mindful about how I'm incorporating the two. But you do want it to be smooth. And it can be a little tricky to see, but these two are different consistencies, and the whipped cream is usually a little bit brighter in texture, so if you look closely, you can tell whether or not it's uniform. All right, so once our crust is cooled down and our strawberries are nice and cool as well, which both of mine are, we can assemble this pie. Super easy. Take your filling and dollop it into the crust. Try not to touch the sides when you're doing this at first, because sometimes that crust will try to pull away with you. Get all of that filling because it's really good. This is such a simple pie, but it's so delicious. And then once you've kind of mounded it in the center, now you want to smooth it into the crust. And here you do want to gently push it into the sides of the crust. And now it's important that they do make contact, because if you kind of like leave a little pocket there, the crust is just going to crumble when you cut into it. It's already kind of a crumbly crust, but it's crumbly in a good way. That could be crumbly in a very messy way. So now our strawberry filling, give it a quick stir, gently pour these into the center of the pie. And if you wanted to cover all of the filling, that's fine. You have enough crust to do that. But I usually kind of like a little bit of the filling to peek out a bit. It's already a pretty soft pie, even after it's set, but it would be impossibly messy right now. So we are going to pop it in the fridge and let it chill for at least 4 hours. I usually like to chill mine overnight. Once the pie has chilled, we can go ahead and dig in. I hate cutting into pies and cakes on camera because the first slice is always the messiest. Now the filling stays like soft and jammy in texture, so it holds together okay, but it's going to kind of start to want to spill off the sides, and that's totally normal. It's actually desirable. I wanted the texture to be nice and soft this way. Probably gonna do 2 cuts because the first one's gonna be messy. I mean, that's gonna be delicious. But let's do a prettier one. Much better, much cleaner. And that's it. You really want to use good tasting strawberries, so it's really nice for the spring and summer season. If you try this one, I'd love to know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. My favorite part. Crumbly graham cracker crust, creamy filling, juicy strawberries. This is a good pie. This is, sorry, I thought this was gonna be a lot smoother. Pot, what is it? You always tell me I call it the wrong thing. One is always.
Nowhere close to center, and I'm worried that you're gonna be messing it up for yourself.
Shoot, no, I'm so glad you said something. That's not the center of the pie.
Nowhere close.
Where did I even cut it? Everybody ready? It's terrible, right? My nose is itchy. It's itchy when I'm nervous.